Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of Game Night Date Night. If you've noticed, this episode is a few days late, and the reason for that is I've moved. We bought a new house that required a lot of renovations. Not tons of renovation, honestly. It's a minor renovation, but a lot of painting. This was a rented unit for many years, and it shows, so it really kind of needed a little bit of TLC. So we've been renovating, we've been painting, and we've been moving. And in the process of all that, I've misplaced my audio-visual box with all my cameras and my microphone. And luckily, I actually found it yesterday, so I was able now to do the video. You'll notice I'm in my new little office/studio. This is where I'll be doing my videos going forward. Also in the new house, I'm super excited. The basement living room is going to be a designated game room. And so far it's looking amazing. I had 26 boxes filled with board games, and I've unpacked all but 2. And some of them were huge. So that's been a process. Once it's all unpacked, then I can start organizing it. So I'm excited to have it all done. Slowly coming around. So for Game Night Date Night is in collaboration with Games and Couples. Games and Couples do amazing thing. They do couple counseling utilizing board game as one of the way to help couples to connect with each other. And they've also created a rating system that I'm super impressed with, and they rate games on 3 things. Now keep in mind, with this rating system, 1 is not bad and 5 is not good. It just depends on where you are as a couple. So the first thing that they rate on is conversation and connection potential. So depending on where you are as a couple, maybe you play games at the end of the day and that's how you kind of reconnect with each other, and you're looking for something that will have more opportunities for conversation. Or maybe right now in your relationship there's a little bit of strain going on and things can flare up easy and conversation can kind of escalate quickly. So maybe you're looking for a way to spend quality time together without having too much conversation right now, and having a lower score here might be more helpful to you. We also have in the getting to know you. And during play, maybe you have some games that reveals a lot about your partner and you get to learn from each other or learn about each other. Or there's some games where you do your things, they do their things, and you just kind of compare score at the end. That doesn't actually reveal so much. And it depends on where you are and what kind of best suits you at that time. And the last thing that we rate on is potential for hurt feelings and conflict. This is a game, a lot of time there's one winner, unless it's a cooperative game, right? So cooperative game would have kind of a lowest score on this. A game that has a lot of take that element, a lot of competition, probably would have a higher score. And depending on how things are in your relationship or how you are as a couple, you may have a preference as to what you want for that. So this month, the first game that we had showcased is Quest for El Dorado. The Quest for El Dorado is a deck building game. So you have some cards, and as you're playing, you're acquiring more and more cards. And with this one it's also a race. So you got 2 meeples when you're playing 2 players, and you have to make it through the map, through the different terrains, and you're trying to get both of your meeple at the end, and the first player to do that is the winner. Now what's interesting is the different terrain will require that you have different cards in your hand to make it through. So if you have a lot of forest coming up, you might be tempted to collect a lot of machetes. But if then all of a sudden you're in front of water, you need to make sure that you're prepared for that as well. It's really interesting and a fun game. Now in the rating system for conversation and connection potential, I'm giving this one a 3 out of 5. So right smack in the middle. There's some strategies kind of happening. You're kind of purchasing cards, you're looking, but there's not tons and tons going on that you couldn't hold a conversation. So that's why I'm giving this one a 3. For the getting to know you, I'm also giving this a 3 out of 5. It's interesting to see how your partner will react to if they come across, they don't get the right cards, how they strategize. Are they kind of more people at the moment kind of concentrate on this and there's like, oh no, I gotta try to get the other ones now, or how they handle the situation. Hurt feelings and conflict, I'm giving this one a 2 out of 5. There's really no take that element in this per se, other than your meeple might be on the path that the other player would want to take. And most of the time, that's not intentional. It's more like accidental. So it wouldn't be a very high conflict game. This is what the game looks like. So you have the map in the middle, and what's really neat is the map changes all the time, so you can kind of put a different map all the time. You have your cards there at the bottom that you'll be utilizing, and then you have the market. Now there's different cards available in the market. Once one type of card is all used up, the player who's going to be drawing the card next gets to pick one card to bring into the market. So they're not all available at the same time, and it's the player who will kind of fill that space who gets to decide what card to bring in next. Next game we talked about this month was Meadow. Meadow is a card set collection game, and it has a really neat way of drafting the cards. So you got a 4x4 grid, and you have these little tiles that are like kind of arrow shaped, and you can put them in the notch along the board, and depending on which notch you put them in and the number on that arrow indicates how far in you would go. So if it's a 2, you would collect the card that is 2 spaces in. And you're trying to kind of place these arrows to get the cards that you're trying to get. Now each of these cards are going to have different symbols on them as well, and depending on what's on the symbol tag, the cost of what it needs, and then the symbol what you'll have afterwards. So it could be that you have a bird, and a bird requires that you have a grub symbol. And once you cover the grub symbol, this new card is going to give you a flower symbol. So you've got to be careful in which symbol you cover up when you're adding this to your tableau, because it could be that you needed a grub for another card as well. So it has an interesting balance that way. Now for the rating system, conversation and connection potential, I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5. You're drawing cards, you're playing cards. It's a fairly low-key, low-action game that you should be able to hold a conversation quite easily while playing this game. Getting to know you, I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5. It's interesting to see how your partner selects, and then their card, how they deal if the card they're wanting is kind of blocked to them. How they make the decision on what to put in their tableau. It just has some potential for a little bit of getting to know you there a bit. Hurt feelings and conflict, I'm giving this one a 2 out of 5. The only thing that can happen is that you put your arrow in the notch that they were hoping to use, or that you take a card that they were hoping to take. But most of the time that is accidental. It's not always that obvious as to what the other player is trying to do. So I think it's kind of on the lower end. This is a picture of the front of the box, and what's really neat with this game is it is gorgeous. This is a beautiful, beautiful game. Each card has a unique watercolor artwork on it, so it's very stunning to look at. Next game we showcased this month was Onitama. So Onitama is kind of a chess-like game that is a little bit simpler to learn than regular chess. And the reason for that is you'll have 2 cards on your side that are the movements you can activate for your players. The other player will have 2 cards as well, and there's one in the middle. Then when you spend a card to move your figure, you trade that card with the one in the middle. So there's only going to be 5 moves during the whole game, and it gets kind of shuffled. So it's interesting. Now, rating-wise, for conversation and connection potential, I'm giving this one a 2. This is a very strategic game, so you may be spending a lot of it trying to figure out which action to activate, what you think the partner might activate next, and trying to kind of decide which move to do. So there's so much going on in your head that you may not be holding a conversation so much while playing this game. Getting to know you, I'm giving this one a 3 out of 5. It's interesting to see how the partner is going to play and the decisions they're going to make, but a lot of that is going to be decided in their head. They're not going to talk to you about it. So there's a level of secrecy there as well. Hurt feelings and conflict, I'm giving this one a 2 out of 5. The goal is to to capture the other players, and then either capture the master would kind of win you the game, or get your master in their temple would win you the game as well. So because that is the whole goal of the game, you should be expecting it, and it's not as hurtful when it does. Here's another picture of it. It has a really neat neoprene board, and then each time you play there'll be 5 new cards that get selected, or the cards selected will change up, so kind of keeps it interesting. And then the last game that we showcased this month was Clask. Clask plays a little bit like air hockey. And you have the piece on the top that is controlled by another piece underneath that's magnetized together. So you move the piece on the bottom and it moves the one on top. The goal is trying to get that little yellow ball into the other player's goal marker, and then every time you do that, you'll get a prize. You'll get a point, a prize. That would be fun, but you get a point. So now, conversation and connection potential, I'm giving this one a 4. This is a dexterity game, so you're just kind of moving. There's not a lot of thinking. Your brain is not kind of all that busy, so you can definitely have a conversation as you play. Now, I'm not saying it could be trash talk, right? Getting to know you, I'm giving this one a 2 out of 5. This is not one that you would kind of learn a whole lot about your partner, but if they accidentally score on each other and the way they handle that, it could be revealing as well. Hurt feelings and conflict, I'm giving this one a 3 out of 5. It's in the middle. This is a competitive game. And sometimes you can get that yellow ball and trying to hit it so that it'll hit one of those white pieces and get that attached to the other player. Because if you ever get 2 of those attached to your player, then the other player scores a point. And here's what the board game looks like. So it's a little table so that you can reach underneath to move the piece. And it's a dexterity game. It's a lot of fun, very competitive. It plays pretty quick. It's just like a high action game. So be sure to follow us on Instagram. My Instagram is boardgame_mama, and also check out Games and Couples. On Facebook, my Facebook page is Board Game Mama and Friends Are Playing All the Games, and Games and Couples Love in the Age of Board Game. And on YouTube, my YouTube channel is Board Game Mama, and then there's also Games and Couples Love in the Age of Board Games. So be sure to tune in next month to see which other games get showcased this month. Bye, everybody.